I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just look good at. I'll just do it in front of her, shouldn't I?
He's kept going. He scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net. It's Palmer. Armstrong played in again. And a superb goal. Chelsea did it. Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in.
It's a five-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we've got a small house, but we've got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
France have already kicked off. Not France has already kicked off. France-Spain has already kicked off, but France have kicked off. Another bugbear of mine, we'll get onto that later. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of SK3 TV, the show that's here every week giving you the first word on all things county and the weekend's action, of which we actually have some this week, which is tremendously exciting. Yeah, we've basically had over 1,000 streams combined across the two episodes and thought, right, sod it, let's get too big for our boots. Let's play on hard mode and let's broadcast at exactly the same time as a pivotal Euros semi-final. To be fair, though, it's going to be either France are going to bore everyone into submission by playing terrible football, or Spain will bore everyone into submission by just passing it round like a bunch of nerds. Grow up. Although, to be fair, Spain are pretty much passing the ball around before they've even fallen out of their mum's fannies. So there we go. Yes, we are here every week giving you all the latest. It's not a solo act tonight. I have got Ben joining me shortly and then Hannah a bit later on. But in the meantime, cheers to everyone who's tuning in. Some of the usual names there: Dave Philbin, Phil Lloyd, Matt Brady. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and all that stuff across all the channels, which you can find in the links, which really, really help. Apparently, I'm told it helps. I've got people telling me how to build a channel and stuff like that, and that's one of the things I get told. So here we are. Yes, we have lots to talk about tonight. We are going to be chatting England. We've got a kit launch to discuss. We've got ingoings and outgoings to discuss. We've got we've got a friendly. We've got another friendly coming up this Saturday, and we've got your tourist guide to the area of Pinatar for those who are going. We're going to have some pub, and well, it's not really pubs over there, is it? It's bars. It's only really pubs in Spain, if you like. At one of the places where all the English people go to watch Only Fools and Horses. Phil Lloyd, Spain only averaging 50% possession in this tournament. That's a nerd's amount of possession. That's just far too, not for me. No, not a fan. Not a fan. I'd quite happily just have 22% possession and just bang one goal in, as we've seen with England. Very good. Yes, thank you to everyone who's tuned in so far and to everyone who's continuing to tune in. It's very much appreciated. Very promising start. All the feedback's been good, hence us deciding to just clash with an England game. So yeah. So on to, well, I'm hoping to end with us very shortly to discuss kits, but get in the comments and tell us your thoughts on the kits. That would be greatly appreciated. If you want my opinion, don't know why you would. Blue home one, yeah, fine, but nothing's topping last season's, so forget that. I'm very much over pink change kits, but it sells well, so fair play. And the yellow and blue, I think we can all agree, is one of our best ever. Absolutely fantastic. Right, we will get into it properly after this. This is the longest I've ever been on my own doing a podcast. This could go really badly, really horribly. While we hang on for Ben. Hannah's going to be joining us from about 8:30ish, and we will have a chat about the Chester game. Phil Lloyd, blue a bit plain, pink a bit plain, blue and yellow looks great. Agreed. Yes, the purple keeper shirt is certainly a classic. Yeah, it's still no word on whether we're going to be able to get them in adult sizes, which is especially with them in short sleeves now. You can like it is just a normal outfielder's kit, which is good. Yeah, I'm very tempted by the. I did hear a whisper a few months back that they were going back to the Cobra Lager kit. I very much enjoyed the people complaining, saying, "Oh, it's got red on it. Red's not a county colour." Just a good way to like separate the new fans who've jumped on the bandwagon from the old ones, because as anyone with a brain in the head knows, all of our bits have had red on them somewhere. Philbin likes the home one's grown on him since it was released, and the third kit is lovely. Agreed. I'm looking forward to seeing the home one in the flesh. Actually, I think once I catch a glimpse of it, I think get out of that one. Onto the pink one, Matthew Brady. The pink one has left me divided after seeing him in the flesh at weekend. Seems someone's left a red sock in with a whitewash. I could not agree more. I was a bit sickened upon seeing the pictures of that one. It was a bit yeah, a bit. I mean, you could take a leave of pink out that it's a different colour. No, it's not right. I'd prefer black socks, or maybe even hoop socks for that one. But yeah, I think again, it seems to be a common theme. Match the shirt, and it's disgusting. Quite right, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I've seen a lot of people talking about the people getting a bit upset that we seem to have to change all three kits every season. Hopefully, if it is going to be a new, I think the word is that this is the last year of this Puma contract. And if we do move, then maybe we will be able to get into a situation where they just change one or two every season, and then you get to keep a bit of consistency. I mean, anything that brings us closer to being like we were in the 90s is completely fine by me. And yeah, that's included. Ben with us in 5 or 10 minutes, so we'll get onto the shirts at that point, because if you're going to talk shirts, you should have Ben Walker to do it, really. But I mean, he might be the shirt nerd, but Dave Philbin is outing himself as a sock nerd. Sock subject on the release. They had SCFC on the front. On Saturday, the SCFC was on the back. Not a sad life at all, Dave. These are genuinely the thing of all the small things. Then the big things will take care of themselves. France 1-0 up, apparently. Wonderful. We are actually going to win the Euros. We're going to win the Euros in the most boring game the world has ever seen on Sunday, because I'm confident we're going to win tomorrow night. And yes, Sunday will be just dull. It'll be just 120 minutes of nothing before we win on penalties. Fine by that. Fine. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, we'll get on to England, because that's the first thing we'll chat about when Ben joins, actually, so we can just jump straight in. But it's certainly a case. I love it, mate. I genuinely. I don't think any team has won a tournament by playing sparkling football since Brazil in 1970, and I've made my feelings on Spain quite clear. So don't come at me saying, "Oh, Spain in 2008 were brilliant." No, they weren't. They were boring. And Euro 2008 didn't happen, as we all know, because England weren't there. So let's be honest, none of us watched it. So sod it. So I mean, the very fact that we took 5 penalties in a shootout on was it Saturday or Sunday? On Saturday, 5 penalties. The most un-English 5 penalties you'll ever see. Just genuinely. They're the penalties I'd have expected from like a set of Italians or something. I would not have ever expected English players to be scoring penalties like that. And it's just I got really into reading about the psychology of the penalty shot. Just little things that Southgate has had them working on, because he seems to have. It's like it's his like superhero origin story. It was that penalty miss at Euro '96, and everything he's done since then seems to have been based on trying to make sure that happens to no one else. So there's little details, like each player who takes a penalty gets assigned a buddy. So after they've taken the penalty, the buddy walks towards the penalty box to meet them and bring them back, and like bring them back into the group. Same reason the players don't all have their arms interlocked for the penalties now, because it has like an us and them thing with the takers. But thank God it's not just me rambling now. Ben, hello.
Evening. Sorry for the delay. I've only just got back in.
Hey, no worries. Is that something interesting we're drinking now? Is it Pepsi Max?
I find it very interesting, Pepsi Max.
I love Pepsi Max. Fantastic. I've become a proper Pepsi Max stan recently. Yeah.
I'm off the Diet Cokes. Used to be a big fan of Diet Coke, but now can't go back to it. Pepsi Max just so much better. So much better.
It's the shit.
Sorry, I was a bit
Well,
late coming. Got back late. Had to cook me tea. So here we are.
Well, I've delivered a lengthy monologue on both
Is there anyone
the
left?
shirts and England. Yeah, surprisingly, the numbers went up. The numbers went up while I was chatting shit. I was chatting. So
Right.
France 1-0 up as well. Just to update you.
Oh, well, thanks for not spoiling it for me.
No, it's all set up nicely for the most boring Euros final in history on Sunday.
Yeah, just grind out another 2 wins. That's all we need to do.
It's going to be wonderful. So, how much on a scale of 1 to 10 did you enjoy that on Saturday night? Then who needs to talk about County? Sod it. We're
England
good.
game. Yeah, it's like we got all these. I get that. Yeah, if we were to be, flowing, fluid football, beating teams 3 or 4-0, that'd be great. But we're not. So therefore, the next best thing is just win the game, which we are doing. We're in a semi-final again. Southgate's 3rd semi-final out of 4 tournaments.
Yep.
We're progressing deeper into tournaments than we've ever been. And I know there's this whole conversation about, well, we need to be better, and it's in spite of Southgate. It's not in spite of Southgate. If it was in spite of Southgate, we would have regularly got into this deep into tournaments under other managers as well. It's because of Southgate, and yeah, we probably could be a little bit more front-footed and attacking and all that. But if that's going to come at the expense of conceding goals and risking not progressing, then obviously don't do it and just get through and win the games. International teams are never going to play like City do, or the top pro, like Liverpool did a few years ago, because they get together once every 6 weeks. City and Liverpool players are drilled to within an inch of their lives, and you can see that when they get away from like Guardiola or Klopp, they perform differently because they have different functions and play with different players who don't understand that machine of which they operate in. So it's never going to be like that. Yeah, we could be a bit better, could be a bit more exciting, but I would rather be where we are in a semi-final than being where Turkey or Germany, who are supposedly much more exciting, are, which is sat at home watching it.
Yeah, that's it. All the talk about how good Germany were. At the end of the day, they beat a Scotland team that may be one of the worst teams to ever play in an international tournament. They were just genuinely terrible. After they drew with Switzerland, won the other game, and then just lost to the first decent team they played. Pretty much.
Where have we had that before? Yeah,
it's a weird one. Have we had the vote on whether Switzerland count as a decent team or not? Because everyone was right up the backsides in the build up to that game, so you'd assume that would mean they're a decent team.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, they're a decent team. You don't get to the quarterfinals of an international tournament by not being a decent team. So this whole bullshit about we lose to the first decent team we play is just bullshit. We did it in 2018. We beat Colombia, who I think had knocked. They knocked Germany out in the group stages. They were quarters or semi-finalists in 2014. We beat them. First ever World Cup penalty shootout we won because of Southgate's mentality and approach towards it. In 2021, we beat Germany, and people always say, it's not the Germany of the past. And of course it wasn't, but it wasn't the England of the past as well, but we still beat them. We then hammered Ukraine.
Germany team had 8 Champions League winners in it as well.
There we go. We beat Croatia in the group stages as well. We beat Denmark, who were one of the form teams in Europe at the time. And the thing about the Denmark game, went to extra time, but that kind of phrase, that Ole football at the end, we were just taking the piss out of them at the end of the Denmark game. Watch it back. It's there was Oleing wait up to the final whistle. There was no whistling and booing. We were taking the piss out of them. And in 2022, at the World Cup, I can't remember who we played. Second round, we beat Senegal, the African champions, beat them 3-0, just cruised past them. All right, we lost to France, but we missed a penalty. And France, no disgrace in losing to France. They literally the World Cup holders and then went on to lose in the final. So this whole we lose to the first decent team thing is just nonsense. And it's just another lazy, stupid stick for lazy, stupid people to beat Southgate with. There's your soundbite. There you go.
Yeah, we'll stick that on the trailer. Sorted. Jobs are good. That's going on there. I think that should be the last word. Well, before we move on from England and move on to the kits, how do you think it's going to go tomorrow night then? Do you fancy our chances? This is the game I've been most confident about out of all of them.
Yeah, of course I do. Of course, because I think we're capable of beating anyone. Do I think we're going to win? Don't know. It'll be close. But I certainly don't. I'm not preparing to lose or anything like that. I think it'll be a close game. Wouldn't be surprised at all if it went to extra time again. If it goes to penalties, I know this is like a bravado, look at us kind of thing. No one's going. We're causing penalty shootouts now. We're outstanding under Southgate because he has that. And I just caught what you were saying about the not linking arms and the kind of the deep breath and the buddies that they have for taking penalties and all that kind of stuff. No one else is doing that. So, and it counts and it matters and it makes us good at this kind of thing. And we're ahead of everyone else in penalties, which is a weird thing to say for an England team.
It's mental. Yeah, even up to like 5 or 6 years ago, you would not have thought you'd ever be saying that about an England team. It was like watching Italy or someone. It was like watching Italy teams of like the 2000s, just like ruthless.
Yeah, it's like everyone knows about, you know, the classic, like Germans have only ever missed something like one competitive penalty in their history or something stupid like that. That's what England are now. Got 5 out of 5 the other day. Against Colombia, we missed 1. I can't remember who else we've had penalty shootouts against in recent years, but
we won against Switzerland in the Nations League, which we won as well.
Yeah, there you go. Pickford, you know, I think he saved a penalty in every competitive shootout he's faced for England. So, yeah, let's grind out another dreary 0-0. Let's just anti-football it for 120 minutes and then beat them on penalties. Happy days. That'll get people.
Of course, they don't give you the trophy if you've played shit football. That's a problem.
If we beat Holland or the Netherlands and then we beat France or Spain, let's say we do, people won't know what to do with themselves because they won't want to give Southgate credit. Because it won't be because of Southgate. It'll be in spite of him. And there'll be, oh, but it was only an own goal, or we had to do it on penalties. Or there'll always be an asterisk next to it for some people if we win it. Yeah. You know, there's people on the board today saying that like they wouldn't celebrate if England won.
That.
Yeah. So you wouldn't celebrate our second trophy ever, our first one in 58 years, because you didn't find the football that entertaining. Like, yeah, and you know, he's obviously a bit of a wind-up merchant, the guy who said that. So I'm not entirely sure he means it. But come on, there are people who think like that, and there's people who can't wait for us to lose or go out of the tournament so they can say "I told you so" and be all right, Southgate out, all this kind of stuff.
Well, I've got a list. I've got a list in a file on my computer of people who've been slagging England off constantly, slagging Southgate off. And Sunday, if we win it on Sunday night, I'll be the real loser there because I'll be just going on Twitter going, actually, no, I think you'll find you can't celebrate. I think it's a tweet from 6 weeks ago. Yeah.
I've been dredging through like the Euro 2021 thread on Yellowboard, just like, right, got you. Yeah. Don't go delete the comments. Yeah. You can see it in the security log who edits or deletes comments. So I've got you now.
It's like a metaphorical clipboard. Excellent.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. What we'll do, we will get onto kits. And a fun little game that I thought we can play with whenever me and you are on together. So we'll get onto that right after this. Right, so before we get your opinion on the kits, because everyone's heard mine, and it was good, it was fun, people still watched. I have fired up a random number generator with the numbers 1 to 40. And I thought we'd see what pops out and discuss what positions we would attach to that squad number because it's a conversation we've had quite a lot.
Okay. Hit me.
And it'll get us at least 40 episodes worth of content, really.
So, I'm here for it.
Right. Between 1 and 40. Generate, here we go. Oh, it's an easy one to start with. Oh, we might do a couple then. Number 5 to start with.
So, centre half. Clearly centre half. I know there's your Zidans and your Bellinghams who've worn number 5 and played that role, but it's got to be for me a known, and it's not even a horsefall kind of classy. And that's not to say that someone like Ash Palmer or Mike Flynn wasn't.
No, this is the point I'm making. Yeah,
but they were also proper put their head against a brick wall kind of defenders.
Mike Flynn.
Horsefall is at number 6. Whereas a number 5 is just throw the ball in the box and they will head it away all day. Yeah.
Agreed, 100%. Yeah, I have no argument with that. Let's do another one then. Number 10 has come up next. Oh, they're treating us to some easy ones there.
This is interesting because for me, my natural instinct for number 10 is to say it's a centre forward. Purely based upon kind of Alan Armstrong as when I was growing up. But you look back at our most recent number 10s, none of them have been centre forwards. Like Sarcevic had number 10, Ben Whitfield had number 10, Connor Jennings at some point I think had number 10.
Matty Warburton for a lot of that season was number 10.
Yeah, even if you go back to the back end of the dark days and like Baker, he was number 10. Can't remember who had it in the 07-08 season. Who was number 10? Don't know, can't remember. But either way, it's not been your class. None of those are classic centre forwards. So it probably means it's more like an attacking mid, roving somebody or other. But
so where do you stand? Firstly, cheap imitation of Scarf Brower. Cheers, Noff. Much appreciated. Cheers for tuning in. Number 10, I think it's also... I've had this discussion with a few people recently with Fevrier getting number 10. I think a wide forward cutting inside can also be a number 10. When you think of like Eden Hazard, Sadio Mane, a number 10 cutting in, I think that's appropriate as well nowadays.
Like that Alan Armstrong role doesn't really exist anymore. Who's a modern equivalent of Alan Armstrong? Who's not a target man? Who's just a kind of, and he's not, I hate this phrase, but he's not a kind of fox in the box, which is just a phrase of like imbeciles. I hate it. But the role Alan Armstrong played doesn't really, I don't know, does it exist anymore? Who's the closest player we've had in recent years to Alan Armstrong?
There's no one that I can pin. There's no one I can pin down with that. When did we stop playing a 4-4-2 mostly? Because even late 90s we were still 4-4-2 even after Dave Jones went. I think under Palmer we were 4-4-2. We
definitely departed it from Jim. Jim was a lot more fluid than a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is the answer to that one?
Yeah.
We'll
get back onto that, I think.
If number one had come up, then obviously you could say goalkeeper. But even as late as the early mid 90s, and I remember Charlton played United in the FA Cup at Old Trafford. I'm sure it was this game, or unless they played them a couple of years earlier, or when Charlton weren't in the Premier League. I know in the game I'm thinking of, Peter Schmeichel was sent off, which meant he missed the League Cup final against Villa in 95. So it must have been early 95. Charlton's team lined up. Number one was an outfield player, and it was done on alphabetical order. So whoever's surname started earliest on was a number one. And their goalkeeper...
Argentina used to do that in the World Cups, yeah.
It was like number 6 or something.
No,
I'm surprised it happened as recently as kind of mid-90s. I thought it was long gone by then.
No, it's not for me. Not for me. Because there were some very strange numbers for us on Saturday. That's what kind of prompted this. I think we had number 5 at right back, number 2 at left centre back. Kyle Noyle wearing number 4 on Saturday. That's Kyle Noyle. Half the reason I can't get involved in pre-season, really, because this is the sort of torrid stuff that you see.
But then, I don't know how much we read into that, because I remember at the Pinatar game last year, I think Alafe was still... What was he last year? He was 20... Was he 20 or 25?
25.
He was 25
last season, yeah.
When he first joined, he was 20.
Yeah. The
second half of 22-23. And I think when he played at Pinatar, he was still 20. But then when the season started, Barry had 20. So I don't know if they've actually assigned squad numbers yet. I think
I think a couple of players did, because Will Collar had number 14 and what have you.
Right.
In the warm up anyway.
Once they have the names on printed and the sleeve patches come up, which would probably get around the Stoke game end of July, and that's when they're locked in.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's just a matter of having whatever numbers you've got until then. 2-1 to Spain, so I'm hearing. Oh, that's a shame.
Can everyone stop giving score updates, please? I've got it on record, and I was planning to watch it. Yeah. So
don't look at the comments then. Definitely don't look at the comments.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, full of them.
Give it the updates, please. That'd be much appreciated.
Right, as the foremost shirt fancier in the county fan base, let's see what you think of the kits then. Starting from the home one. I've not really seen much of the home and away one in terms of people's opinions, because I think everyone's so fixated on the yellow and blue, quite rightly.
I think it's. I don't love it. I don't dislike it. I don't really have strong opinions. I think I need to see it being worn. I actually sounds a bit kind of weird, but almost like see it in motion, see it being worn on players, and how we look as a collective. It's not just about how a shirt looks on an individual. It's how does the team look like when we're playing in it, I think is quite important. And how does it give us any kind of sense of identity, which I think we haven't had in the past. So we have in recent years, but with some shirts in the past, we haven't really had that identity. So I would like to see us actually wearing it, and it makes a big difference once it's properly badged up and you've got the sleeve patches, you've got your name set, you've got your back of shirt sponsor and all the kind of doings that go with it. Once they're all applied, you see it properly with the shorts, you see it with a player wearing boots. Well, I don't care what it looks like on some fan because, good luck to you. But however...
Gaz Eccleston. That's the only fan we'll accept seeing the shirt.
We don't use him for photo shoots anymore, do we?
No, we've gone big time now. Can't afford him.
So, yeah, I'd like to see how we look at it. Like I say, I think I prefer last year's home one to it on first if I'm pushed. I quite like the cuffed sleeves. I kind of would like to if we made a bit more out of that in the blurb. Kind of little details and touches like that. We seem to have this big, stupid Puma logo patch thing in the bottom corner of the shirt. It'd be interesting to see if I'd imagine that's on all shirts, not just player ones. I've spoken to Landon about this in the past and said that we should have differences between the player shirts and the home shirts and the fan shirts. I know we have the scan detail, and it'll be interesting to see where we put that this year, because it looks as if the collar is like a white and blue, almost like check, where you couldn't actually apply the print to it. So it'll be interesting to see where we put the scan detail this year. But I've said to Landon that for me, and he agrees with this, that there should be differences between the player shirt and the club shop shirts. Makes them a little bit more special, a bit more unique, a bit more county history than just... Because you can't just go to the club shop, buy a shirt, get Horsefall 6 on the back, get sleeve patches banged on it. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could get the print done for the scan from somewhere, and that's it. You could pass it off as a player shirt. I don't really think there's anyone weird enough to do that. But having those differences, which you particularly get in the top level shirts, in terms of there's loads of different features, like the badges are almost like heat pressed rather than kind of sewn on, and loads of stuff like that. It'd be great if we could have some differences. But yeah, the home shirt, I would need to see more of it. But initial thing is, it's all right. I'm not overwhelmed by it, but we've certainly had worse in the past.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just a quick question on shirts. Which supplier should we use if not Puma?
I mean, the obvious popular answer is to go for Adidas, which I think is probably more grounded in nostalgia rather than anything special that they're doing now with new kits. I'm sure we'd sell, boatloads of training wear and leisure gear and all that if we actually got some decent stuff, more so than Puma. Adidas is a much more popular brand, I'd imagine. But in terms of their kits, there's nothing I've seen from an Adidas kit that makes me think, yeah, they're miles ahead. For me, having said that, I do really like the Peterborough away shirt. I think that's Adidas, which is really smart, because they've used the old...
That's one of the best this year, yeah.
Yeah, they've not used like the crest that says like "upon this rock" on it. It's the posh, almost like we had that circular crest in the late 80s. It's like a throwback to that.
Yes.
But I think outside of that, which I think is Adidas, for me the head and shoulders ones are Umbro. You look at Cambridge's kits this year are Umbro, even down to the keeper shirt. Really, really smart. The away one, I absolutely like. The home one is classic, kind of instantly it's Cambridge, which is a weird thing to say because Cambridge aren't exactly United or Liverpool, but the colours are just right. The mix of orange or that kind of amber and black is clearly Cambridge. It's not Oxford or someone else. The away shirt is just sensational. Like, look it up. Really, really smart. The keeper shirt's great. They've got a really cool, like, old school range of tracksuit tops to go with it. Just really, really good. Really like Umbro. And then the stuff they've done for Wimbledon as well. it's just great, just really classic, simple stuff, which is just better than any other club are doing. So again, they're not the most kind of exciting brand, Umbro, but in terms of the kit, and you look at, I know it is kind of a bit sacrilege to say on here, but you look at what they did with Burnley. The year Burnley won the championship the other year, which was purple with like the blue flex, similar to our shirt from last season, which I do think was a little bit of a copy of Burnley's. Really, really good, really smart. So if it was me now, purely from a team wear stuff, like what the team will wear, and not all the considering the commercial side of leisure wear and training gear and all that, I'd be looking at Umbro. But I would also 100% be engaging Casual Connoisseur. They did our kits, the TFG kits in 06, 07, which were some of our most popular kits in years. They have their own successful brand. You look in the Cheadle end at any game between kind of October and March, you'll see literally hundreds of their wear hats being worn.
Wear hats, yeah.
Did some of like the artwork and posters and county cultural stuff they've done in the past is just miles ahead of anything we've ever had, either officially or unofficially. And I think to have that talent in the fan base, the experience they've got, and to not even, try it, even just for some training wear. I know we did the Hycadelic stuff last year, which was ace, but to not expand on that, we've got to do it. We've got to engage Casual Co on it.
Yeah, that's something that Wimbledon have done fantastically once again this year. Wimbledon just keep knocking it out the park year after year.
Exactly. They've got that guy, that Mark, who's actually a friend of Tom and Dan who run Casual Co, who's almost like he's heavily involved in the design process, and it's not all about just trying to hark back to this nostalgia, which for a lot of people they've never experienced. It's taking cues and inspiration from the past, but then absolutely running with it in the future and coming up with something which is just really smart. That Wimbledon home shirt this year is outstanding.
We'll bring Hannah in and then we'll get on to the pink kit. Hello, Hannah.
Hi. Happy
How are you
Tuesday.
doing?
Hi, Ben. Good,
It's
thanks.
Tuesday, isn't it? It's horrible.
I know.
We are onto the pink kit. I've already discussed the fact that the socks are a different colour, so you don't have to get me angry about that again.
Saturday was stressful, and that just kind of tipped me over the edge.
It's not right. I'm very much over the whole pink and fluorescent kit. I can see why there'll be big sellers and stuff. It's a very I was going to use the word woke then. It's a very inclusive colour. I think it convinces a lot of people to buy shirts who normally wouldn't bother. But it's just a bit, yeah.
I've been manifesting a pink kit since this time last year. The turquoise, I loved the turquoise for the same thing. It's like there were women at County last season and girls, and I'm sure blokes as well, who bought a kit because it was a bit more of a kind of leisure wear, pretty colour, and I had high hopes for the pink, but it's like I described it yesterday as ballet pink. I'm in marketing, so hues and Pantone colours and all of that, but I didn't understand why people kept calling it the white kit until Saturday, and now I think it's like one of those kits, like that dress and the trainers, where different people see it different colours. But next to the pinker socks, I could definitely see why people think it was white.
Yeah, it's I've not seen it in the flesh. I didn't go to Chester, but I'm being kind if I say it's poor. Like it's just nothing. It's insipid. It's it just doesn't really work, and I don't really see like the clash between the socks and the shorts. And people say, "Oh, if that's all you've got to moan about these days," and shut up moaning. But it is something to moan. We make a huge deal about our kit launches every year, and obviously it is a big important day for a lot of fans. So let's get these things right. It doesn't work, and on a kind of practical level, it's so pale, it's essentially white, which discounts it as an away shirt in some games because we can't wear it against teams who play in white. And then you look at someone like, I don't know, if we play, we've got 4 or 5 teams who play in blue and white. So I think Reading, Wigan, Huddersfield, don't know what Peterborough's home shirt's like, but there's a few who play in blue and white stripes. Obviously, we can't wear our blue shirt. If that's so pale it clashes as a white shirt, we can't wear that. And I'd be surprised if we could wear our third shirt, which is strong shades of blue. So then you're back to, which is a similar scenario to 92, 93, when we had that one-off red shirt, because we had exactly that problem. Blue home shirt, white away shirt, yellow and blue third shirt. So what do we do? I'm sure we thought of it. I'm sure it's considered and it doesn't clash and all of that. But it just looks, purely as a subjective view from me, like, I just think it looks a bit shit, is my honest opinion of it.
It's still my favorite of the three, and I think it'll be interesting to see, as opposed to, it was very bright on Saturday. Well, it was raining when I got there, but it got brighter, like, versus it being, I mean, I've seen other photos of it where it looked so, there was no debate that it was a pink shirt. And I think probably when we see it in the shop or the stock photos on the website, I mean, even the launch photos, it was very much a pink shirt. So whether it's, I don't know, like the lighting at the Diva Stadium didn't show it off to its full potential, I don't know. But like both my girls, Sophie held out for Ben's pink kit last season. Charlotte wants it as well. They want the same kit for the first time in as long as I can remember. So regardless, I think it will sell extremely well.
It will, it will sell. And, you know, I'm probably being a bit harsh because I haven't seen it in the flesh and all of this. It just doesn't really, it's just neither here nor there. You know, I think we talk about, you know, pink kits we've had in the past. You know, that one from a couple of years ago, which everyone raved about, was attention seeking and all of this. And this one isn't, I think even if it wasn't pink, even if it was white, it's still just a bit, it's just a bit bland. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, shirts don't have to be like psychedelic and all of this kind of stuff. I do wonder if it would have worked better as a kind of a chocolate brown rather than a black, though, which is bold to kind of pink and brown. But I do wonder if those kind of, to quote Hannah, those kind of hues would have been.
Yeah, or even a grey. Like this time last season, Peterborough had, I can't remember if it was their away or third, and it was what I expected this pink to be. They're also with Puma, so that, you know, wouldn't have been unsurprising. What they did, and I just caught the end of, I don't know who you were talking about, but Cambridge have got these really bold prints on their shirt, and like almost having something like that means something to Stockport as a watermark, like a wash in the print.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Cambridge's away shirts,
yeah. So I think something like that's not resorting to like Barrow's submarines, but just gives it a little bit more personality. I'd love to see something like that. And then, you know, it pulls through to the trim on the blue shirt, and, you know, it could be incorporated into third. Like, it just something that kind of pulls the three together, I think would be nice.
Yeah, and that's it. That they're three very, they don't feel part of a collection in any way. You know, you look at, I know they're not, you know, again, people will probably be like, well, it's not a fashion show, but this kind of stuff is important, otherwise people wouldn't do it. They're not, it's three very disparate kits. We've got this blue one, this pink one, this yellow and blue one. What's the kind of the thread in the story linking them all together? They just feel like three kits which don't clash with each other, and that's it. Like, whereas, you know, what's the collection, what's the story behind the kits for 24, 25, and how do we knit them all together? And
the training kit as well, nothing to do with the color, that has got some kind of pattern in it, but as far as I can tell, it's just an abstract pattern. It doesn't mean anything. And you know, that could have been pulled in better as well. But
here we are.
Did we get the phrase bespoke colourway at any point? I deliberately didn't read the description. It's just for that reason.
Thankfully stopped. I think they used to get paid every time they used the word bespoke, didn't they, in the blurb?
Yeah.
Well, thankfully we managed to go the whole release without having the word bespoke this year. So let's just keep saying bespoke instead. Like, I I don't think anyone really gives a shit if it's bespoke or not. Like, knock out a decent kit with a bit of a story behind it, whether it's bespoke or not. Don't really care.
Yeah, great suggestion of SK3 County. I think I know who that is, but I'm not gonna out him. Pyramid Home, Viaduct Away, Bamboo third. There we go, done. That's all
Bamboo,
you need.
rest in peace.
I know. I ended up with a head injury last time I went into the Bamboo because there's so many mirrors in there, and you only go in there when you're already drunk anyway. And I didn't realise there was a mirror where there was a mirror, and just walked into it. And
I thought you were going to say it was because the ceiling was so low, and you just kind of like, all I remember is like sweat dripping off the ceiling. It's the most disgusting experience.
Yeah, to get tested for hepatitis after I've been in there last time. Horrible place. Oh, I can't believe it. It's so weird that people are like, oh, it's so sad to see it go. No, it's not. It is a stain on Stockport culture, is what it was.
The health
I'm glad it's
hazard.
gone.
Yeah.
I'd have happily like done the wrecking ball. They should have auctioned off the chance to hit the button on to set the wrecking ball off.
Yeah.
They really should have done.
So, you know, it had that whole like Baker Street sign. My dad told me when I was little that what's it called, Rafferty's Baker Street was written about that. And yeah, I like wholly believed it. I mean, honestly, just as you were talking about it, I was like, no, that probably wasn't true, was it?
That's not even the biggest urban myth connected to that song, because do you remember the thing that it went round that Bob Holness played the sax on it? Do you remember? Do you guys remember that? I mean, you're both older than me as well, so you should remember it surely. But yeah, for years people were like, oh, it's Bob Holness playing sax on that, and then Stuart McConey came out and admitted to like making the whole thing up as a joke. Yeah. Although Bob Holness was actually the first person to ever play James Bond, so there we go. As a Bob Holness. But if Bob Holness doesn't make it into the episode title tonight, then we've had a staggering last 15 minutes or so of the show. That's, whoa, God. Right, we've got 15 minutes to go. We've still got to get your Pinatar recommendations from both of you, because we've been specifically asked for bar and pub recommendations, and Hannah is going to be taking us through the Chester game. But first, we should get on to the jewel in the kit crown, and that is the yellow and blue beauty, which is so offensive, and I love it. You can't beat an offensive change shirt. It's just a shame we're never going to get to. Didn't you do the maths, Ben, and work out how many times we're going to be wearing it? It's like 1 or 2 max.
I did. Valuable public service, which kind of covers the thing I spoke about earlier of when are we actually going to wear it. Obviously, the thing is, as a club, we tend to wear blue wherever possible. So we could go to Northampton, who play in what kind of claret burgundy kind of colour, and we could wear the yellow and blue. We could probably, our pink is so pale, we could probably wear our pink against their burgundy, but we won't. We'll wear our blue. And last time, I think the last few times we've been to Northampton, I think every time up until that Jim Goodwin free kick on Bank Holiday in 02-03, we've worn blue away at Northampton. Last year, when we went to Swindon the year before, and Accrington and Morecambe, when we went to Charlton the year before, we always wore red when we could have worn our away shirts. So we always tend to prioritise blue. So I think the only one that really screams where we could wear the yellow and blue, if we don't wear, and that's purely based upon last time we went there, we wore our away shirt, Bolton. We wore our pink there in the Cup in 2021. Could have worn blue, we didn't. We wore our pink. So I'm following that we will wear our third shirt this time. But other than that, there's no really obvious place where that yellow and blue would be worn, because either the team plays in blue or it plays the team where we couldn't wear it somewhere like Shrewsbury or Cambridge because they play in yellow. So I don't really know where we're going to play in it. And I hope it's not like last season where I think we wore the blue shirt 4 times in the league and the turquoise like twice, 3, I think Newport 3 times, Newport, Wimbledon and Colchester. It's not really on that. If you're having a shirt which people are paying for and want to be seen in it, and particularly if people are paying what is now £325 for a match-issued shirt, not match-worn shirt, for club sponsorship, then you should be worn more than 3 times.
Tell us about that for people who aren't aware then.
I think we should cover it another time when I'm a bit more... I don't see it as great value for money anymore. The player sponsorship.
I was going to do it for the first time this year.
I mean, I'm not discouraging you from doing it. I would just weigh up the benefits of what you get. You get previously, going back even a few years ago, you got a invite to a proper dinner at the end of the season, where it was a proper sit-down dinner. The players will all be there. You got the end of season awards and everything, and it felt, even if you felt like a bit of a nuisance as a fan talking to Sam Walker, you felt as if you were part of it. Now you got a match-worn shirt, and you had a special invite event to it where you'd get to have your photo taken with, say, Ash Palmer on a sponsored him, and you'd have a chat with him, and it was great, and it felt special, and it wasn't even that much cheaper. It was still like 250 quid or something, and it was great. And over the last few years, it's gradually been eroded in what you get. So you now get, so it's changed this year, so the price has gone up, again, probably understandably, we're in League One, although, overheads of a player sponsorship don't really change. It's £325 now, and if you've changed it to a match issue shirt rather than match worn, you get your name in the programme, and I think you get your name on social media if that player scores or is man of the match, and you get an invite to a Carrington Fun Day kind of thing. It'll appeal to some people. I'm sponsoring Ben again because I've had him every year apart from his first seasons, and there's a sense of loyalty to him. I've asked about which players are available this year. There's kind of an additional one. I had Louis Barry last year. I think, I think go back to the COVID season, I had, I think, 6 players. I think the year before that I had 5 or 6. Now, if Ben wasn't here, I don't think I'd sponsor anyone. And that's from someone obviously who loves shirts and sees it as the only route to get shirts. I just don't see there being any return on it. And I don't mind paying big money for a shirt. I don't want to feel like I'm not getting value for something, and that's the difference.
I suppose that, like, for Ben, it's the scarcity as well, isn't it? In terms of, like, they don't sell, well, as far as we know, they're not selling the kits in adult sizes. So, there's a little bit of additional value there, but
and that's the thing with Ben, that obviously he's a bit of a one-off, and he's club legend, and because I've had him for so long, I've got, and Ben's been brilliant with me. He's given me some of his really important shirts for the collection. So I've got like 20 odd of his shirts now. So I feel like I need to keep that thread going. And don't get me wrong, that for some people it will completely appeal, and it's not. And I'm not saying in any way, don't do it, or it's bad, or it's a rip-off, or anything that. If that idea of a Carrington Day, going to watch the players train, getting to meet the players and all of that, and seeing your name on social media when Alafe scores, or if you sponsor him, if that appeals to you, fill your boots. But I don't really want. I don't really. If I want to put my name on social media, I'll tweet something. Do you know what I mean? I don't really need to do that. I think the meeting players thing's probably for kids. Again, my kids are a little bit too young. Maybe when they're a bit older, it's something that would appeal more. And I think the main thing is that whole thing about being a match issue shirt. And I understand why they've done it, because last year it was match worn shirt. But if you sponsored, say, that lad who came from City, Ben Knight, he never played for us, and so we can't give you. The club couldn't give sponsor a match worn shirt. So then, could that sponsor then say, well, it says match worn shirt, it doesn't say Ben Knight's, therefore I demand Paddy Madden's home shirt. So I kind of know why they've done it, but the cynical part of me, and I don't believe this would happen, but you could sponsor, say, Jaden Fevrier, someone you'd expect to play a lot of games, and at the end of the season you get a shirt which has been printed up the day before. It's still match issue, but it might not have ever been near it. It might never have been worn. And I'm sure that wouldn't be the case. But say Fevrier goes and scores 40 goals this season and says, right, I want to take home my home, away, and third shirts this season as souvenirs. He's totally entitled to do that, but the sponsor won't get your shirt. They'll just get something knocked up the day before. So it's a lot of money. And I think and I'm rambling here, and I will shut up. But £325 essentially for me for the shirt. There's very few shirts from the last few seasons, and there's probably not going to be any shirt from next season that would hit £325 on eBay. So
so by so the kind of other side of it, like Charlotte is coming up to 11. I asked her if she wanted to be a mascot again, and she said no. So I was thinking that it would be, it's kind of comparable financially. Just the match worn, I mean, it'd be cleaner, wouldn't it? It wouldn't smell, because we probably, like, I wear them, like the ones that I've bought a few in the past. I bought them because I want that shirt. So again, it's kind of,
that's it. It's different things for different people, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, as a quite intense collector of county shirts,
different
I want the shirts that have been worn in specific games, and I want to be able to photo match them to the different parts of the pattern and where the badge sits on the sleeve, and be able to confidently say that shirt was worn by that player in this specific game. Not everybody, well, probably not many other people want to be able to do that. So, but for me, that kind of thing's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Right. Before we wrap up, you both went to Pinatar last year. You're both going this year. 90s Hatter on Marion's board has specifically asked for recommendations of things to do and places to go to. Hit him with it.
So, just like kind of admin stuff. The arena is a little bit, it depends where you're staying, right? So the arena is kind of out on one side, and then you've got the center, which is like your normal kind of esplanade by the beach. And so down there's kind of restaurants and lovely kind of beachy place. I mean, nowhere is kind of particularly high end. At the marina, there's some places as well, but last year they were really, really quiet. We were a bit earlier last year, and so it was kind of, it wasn't quite peak tourist season. And around the marina, it's much less touristy. So kind of struggled with, like, my really basic Spanish was actually required, as opposed to like in the center, less so. But getting out, so going from the arena to, let's call it the marina, it's not, what do you call it, like we'll call it the center, is a taxi ride. And what we found last year was that there aren't kind of enough taxis in Pinatar to cope with an entire fan base. I mean, not a massive fan base, but it'll be worse this year, moving from one location to the other. So that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, down by the front, I didn't discover that as a kind of central hub of activity until towards the end, but that's where most people kind of migrated. If you're staying at the Thalassia, which is kind of a little bit further out, that's like a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk maybe to the arena, and then a bit too far to walk probably, unless you're walking back to the front. But there was an Indian around the corner from the Thalassia. Last time we hired a car, I'm hiring a car this time, and drove to the supermarket and got a load of stuff there. There's also, if people are bothered, there's quite a few games around. There's one on the Friday night, I think maybe Bournemouth. There's a couple of games on Saturday.
England, isn't it, Friday?
Game on the Thursday night. So there's other games at the arena. And on the Wednesday night as well, it's the fan event at the arena. There's not a great deal of shade, so dress accordingly. It's supposed to be like late 20s, early 30s next week, so it's going to be warm. So don't drink too much, kids.
See, I'd go the other way, and like, we're a bit further out. We didn't stay anywhere near Pinatar. We were in Torrevieja, which was about 25-minute drive away. So we got taxis up, and and it's a little bit Brits abroad. It's not Benidorm, but you could have egg and chips for your breakfast if you want it, kind of thing. While you're watching Only Fools and Horses. But there's a bit more to it than that. We really enjoyed it. We had an apartment last year with a pool. We've got another one this year. And then, just relied on taxis. As Hannah says, it was a pain in the arse getting away after the game, because taxis would turn up every now and then, and it was just a free-for-all as to who got there quickest. There was no booking system or anything like that. And that's good. And that was at probably 7, 8 o'clock in the evening last year when it wasn't too hot. This year it's going to be 1 in the afternoon when you're baking. And there is a bar at the arena I mean, it's a training pitch, but there is a bar at the back of it. But as soon as the game was over last year, they couldn't get you out quick enough, and you're not coming back in. You're not using the toilet. You're not getting a bottle of water, and like there was security like kicking you away. So be prepared to be out in the sun after the game, unless you've got your own transport. In terms of things to do in the evenings, we were mainly down Torrevieja, which is as lively as you want it to be. The first night we got there, we went silly, and we were out till probably like 4 in the morning. Half 4, we found some club, and then second night, I think we just kind of dossed around and just had a few drinks. Like then we hired a boat in the day and all this kind of. So it was great. There was plenty to do, and then we're staying there again. I don't think he's going to be listening, so I can probably say this, but obviously we're going over Wednesday morning, and then the game is, we've got the fan event Wednesday evening, so we'll probably go out Wednesday night, have a silly one. Thursday, just take it easy. Then we've got the game Friday morning, which gives us the rest of Friday to, do whatever we want to do. Make our way back from Pinatar, waiting for a taxi probably. And then we're flying back till Sunday evening. So it's like, well, we went there last year. We've kind of done everything there is to do in Torrevieja. There's only so much, like I say, egg and chips you can eat. And then, so what can we do Saturday that's got a bit of adventure? What can we do Sunday? What can we do? So we've got a plan. Our flight back to Manchester is 6 o'clock Sunday evening. At 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, flying to Ibiza. And then we're flying back from Ibiza to Alicante at 8 o'clock Sunday morning. And then we've got booked into a hotel and a spa near Alicante Airport where we can just rot until our flight at 6 o'clock. So we're flying to Ibiza for 15 hours with just the gear we've got on, 4 of us. And it's one of my mates who we're going with, one of the best mates. It's his son is coming with us, and he was 18 a couple of weeks ago. So it's 18. So we're hoping he's not listening to this, because if he is, then soz, ruin the surprise.
I'm going to need regular voice notes from both of you, and we'll play them out on air.
Yes. If you know who I'm talking about, like if you know who I'm kind of stretching quite a lot here, but like if anyone who I'm friends with knows who I sit with, and you can join the dots together and know who I'm talking about, whose birthday it is, please don't tell him. Please don't tell him. We want it to be a surprise. So yeah, we're doing that.
That's fair.
There's the flamingos to go and see in Pinatar. And there's also the mud baths, which I fully meant to go to last time and then just couldn't face because it was a bit gross. But I know people that did go there. Bring a hat to the football game, the match on Friday.
Lost the football.
I think last year the sun was behind us, so it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
There's no shelter whatsoever.
No,
there's nothing. Yeah, if you want shelter, you have to move away from the pitch and be in the bar, which I know for a lot of people won't be a bad thing. But you can't watch the game from the bar.
No,
like you're behind this wall and the changing rooms and everything. But once you're out, once you're in view of the pitch, you are completely getting cooked, and it is bloody hot.
Yeah.
I'm getting Wembley flashbacks now. Ooh, that doesn't sound nice.
Oh, it was Wembley. Do you know what? Actually, no, because Wembley, the sun was in our faces. At least last time it was behind us. But given that we're a few hours earlier,
I right on top.
Didn't even know. Yeah.
Not good for the follically challenged.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, Hannah, you're going to pester the players again, and we can do a special podcast again.
Oh, you know that I don't pester anyone.
Yeah, a couple of cans of Ting, and you'll be.
Yeah, Ben's not this Ben. I've not called in on that favour either. I've forgotten about that.
I wanted to get you a case, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
You took an extra carry-on to Pinatar full of tea.
I've been just like another, because I am clearly mumming this trip. Anyone who is going with Ryanair, I think most people are going with Ryanair or EasyJet and has like 0 baggage. I've done a Boots order, so you can order from Boots and have it delivered to Boots at the airport, so you're not restricted to what they sell at the airport, and you pick it up airside, and they say to pick the day like 3 days before you fly, to make sure that it's ready. But I've ordered all my sunscreen and my like toiletries and stuff to pick up from Terminal 3 on Tuesday morning.
I can vouch for that approach. We did that with baby formula when my youngest was. We went over to France when she was tiny. Yeah, we literally walked on the plane with like bin bags full of formula in liquid, and it was all cool.
Yeah, it doesn't count as like your hand luggage because it's technically like duty-free airport shopping.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm now expecting a load of teenage county fans rocking up at the airport to pick up condoms and sun cream. That's what I'm expecting.
Well, they're not
right, Hannah,
liquids.
Well, depends what you do with them. You've got about 4 minutes, Hannah, to tell us everything there is to know about the Chester game on Saturday. Hit us.
I think that's plenty. My LB Forever tattoo that I got last season is no longer out of date because Lewis Bate has taken over the crown. He's just exactly what we needed in terms of busyness in midfield, an absolutely banging goal. I think it was on the Stockport County social media channels yesterday. And there's one picture from the other angle, and Jack Diamond's just kind of looking at him like, you're doing that. It was very much a game of two halves. And I don't think you can really make too many judgments about the form in the second half, because although there were players like Sam Hughes was on, Fiorini was on, given that, they were also bolstered by a that sounds really dramatic, a significant number of academy players and development players, you can't really make kind of comparisons between the two. We were missing a few. Will Collar presumably pulled up in the warm-up, so he was replaced with Che Gardner, who, again, insane goal. Che Gardner, top fact, is Usain Bolt's godson, son of Ricardo Gardner, and clearly got some of his inherited significant amounts of his father's skills. So
turns out quite good on Football Manager as well for people who are into that.
Oh yeah,
not me, but
yeah. So Ethan Mann played in the second half. He's the one that's gone out to Buxton today. Courier Dye is fucking massive. Like, I knew this, but seeing him lined up, and Sophie doesn't really go to county very often, and she's like, why are our teams so small? And I was like, no, it's because they're stood next to Courier Dye. And although he did a bit of his, like I talked last week about how nervous he makes me, he did a little bit of that, but nothing too reckless. And again, you can't compare him with Metcalf. Like, it was like two different games of football. What else was there? Jordan Keane played in the second half.
I mean, that's the headline here.
Came on, so it was trialist C, I think. So trialist A is supposedly Jordan Rossiter. Trialist B, Max Thompson, who's from Mac, but has been at Burnley. And trialist C was Jordan Keane, who is looking for a club, basically. So it was like, what was that lad that played the Hartlepool player?
Featherstone.
Yeah. So a bit like that. But honestly, he didn't look particularly out of place. And what he did, which I thought was really good, obviously he works with the academy at the moment, but he was like coaching and directing almost on the pitch and directing the play. And looked in good shape, was a really nice kind of addition to the second half. I think that's basically it. That really short Chester player from last season was there again, and next to Courier Dye, it was levels.
It's just nice to have a player that makes me look short, to be honest. I'm very excited to stand near him, just to find the shortness of someone. Yeah.
There was some odd singing. Don't know whether people have heard that. Like Arthur Brownlow, 5 minutes into a friendly, when it was
that song should only be saved for a specific set of circumstances.
Right, exactly. And it was not.
A friendly is certainly not it.
No,
not
that is reserved for when you're 4-0 down at MK Dons or something like that. It's not a good time celebration song, but
No.
it's been completely co-opted into being that. But for me, I hate saying this, it just smacks of "look at me, everybody." Like from, it's like no, it's not. Then it should. I don't know who was singing it, but it should be sung in specific dark circumstances, not on a nice warm July day in a friendly. Not having it. Denied, rejected.
And, you know, credit to them for, you know, trying to get an atmosphere going, but it was. But again, like I said, I was stressed on Saturday. There was, you know, my tolerance for shit like that was very, very low. So
nonsense tolerance threshold wasn't where you wanted. Right, that's probably as good a time on that sour note. It's probably as good a time as any to wrap it up. We will be back in some combination next Monday night, back to regular programming. Although this is dependent on how England do in a possible final on Sunday, because there might be some very
Pinatar Eve.
Well,
I'll be
definitely
fine.
Do Monday then.
Either way.
Tell you what it is next Monday is moving house Eve, because last week you could see just sneaking into the corner of the shot, like the deterioration of our standards and the boxes and the squalor piling up. Now, like I don't think we've moved anything in the last week in a positive way. We just added more shit to the pile. So we move next Tuesday. So probably won't be speaking to you Monday evening because I'll be knee high, head high in boxes. But hopefully next time we do speak, if I'm invited back, I'll be in my new house and I won't be surrounded by shit.
And you'll be like post Spain and post Ibiza, like chill.
I'll probably be dead, to be honest. Moving house in Ibiza in a week. Yeah.
You will have accumulated shit.
But I'm meant to be looking after myself. Nearly died in March. So yeah, should be not doing that. But here we are.
Yeah, the shit you'll have accumulated next week will be a drip, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Fully expecting it.
An incubator. That's what it'll be. It'll be incubated, won't
it? Lovely stuff. Right. Okay. We will, in that case, we will see everyone next week. Ben, good luck with the move and good luck with not dying in Spain.
Let's hope no shirts go missing during the move.
Oh my goodness!
Don't do a Jay Slater. Whatever you do, just be careful. Christ, that's getting it. That might get no. They won't be listening. Will they? They're too busy on the piss in Spain, aren't they? They won't be listening to this. They're not going to hear it. Yeah. They're on the piss with 50 grand, having a right whale of a time. Right. Cheers for tuning in, folks. Don't forget to like and rate and review, subscribe, and give a thumbs up to the video and all that stuff. And we will see you next week. Ta-ra, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.